You got an offer from World Bank headquarters in DC.
Adam Smith's book. I think that was a kind of change in mindset. In the coming 2 hours, you have a chance to make $20,000.
Is having such a huge loan amount from Uzbekistan's government side, is it bad?
In Uzbekistan, electricity production exceeds the demand.
Thank you, Bahodir, for the electricity. Today's interview for me is very special because, first of all, you're my ex-group mate, now a cool economist working at World Bank, and upon recent news, you got an offer from World Bank headquarters in DC.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
very
you very
happy.
much. Really appreciate it.
Paint the picture of Bahodir in 2013. How, what were you thinking about? How did you get to university? What did you eat? What was your plan about the future?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I think the decision to choose economics came around when I was 18. So I had some life experience.
In CFS.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was, yeah. So before joining before getting acceptance offer from the WIUT, just a few months before. Around 16, 17, I was kind of a bit lost in terms of the life path that I want to build on my career. Because the first choice for me in academic discipline was information technology systems. But later, while I was taking some IT courses, I realized that it is not something that would drive me in coming 5, 10, 20 years. At some point, I was referred to the Adam Smith's book. I think that was a kind of change in mindset. So because then I had an understanding of how economics can explain complicated things in a very simple words. So that was a kind of.
I wouldn't say Adam Smith writes in simple words.
But yeah, I mean, not necessarily in his English, but in terms of explaining the basics. So yeah, I think that was a life-changing moment, and then I got more and more interest in economics, studying economics as a discipline. So I also had some limitations in terms of university selection. So Westminster International University in Tashkent was my first choice and priority in the list. So I also should admit that in the first year I didn't get accepted for scholarship. I got the offer for contract. So I decided to wait one more year and make another try. So in the second year I got the full scholarship. So yeah, this
that's
is how it
real
started.
motivation actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Then let me continue with WIUT. What is your most vivid memories? Maybe a tutor, maybe a lecturer. You tell yours and then I'm going to tell mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there are several of them. First of them started when there was when I was taking my exam. Alain France in the exam hall, he told that in the coming 2 hours, you have a chance to make $20,000.
Wow.
I think that was very much motivational kind of statement. And there was like 300 students, and the placement for scholarship was only 20. So in terms of ratio, it is 15 to 1. And after this statement, I was seeing the bright eyes everywhere, and everyone was firing with motivational. Because before the start of the exam, there was the room was filled with maybe some kind of very peaceful environment, and someone might be feeling a bit sleepy ahead of the exam. But after his speech, I think everyone was very much awake and very much eager to take the exam. And the second one, I think, was linked with one of our lectures in economics.
Who is it?
You know, I think, so the person would be Dimitri Kha.
Yes, I was also going to talk about him.
He was giving a title for the coursework, and he was saying Anyone who will be getting below 40% probably would be failing the course, and then and everyone I think who studied with us in this year clearly remember how tough
Yes,
the
we were
economics
actually
was.
scared.
So kind of yeah, but after years passed, I'm very much thankful for this specific economics course that taught me some fundamentals and basics that even after several years or even almost decade, I clearly remember some of the terminologies and Dimitri has legacy, so to say. Yeah, so I'm very much proud to be part of this batch of students who took the economics when he was a teacher, and also I clearly remember courses, macroeconomics courses taught by Mr. Orbik Yuldashev, also Mr. Obed Hakimov. I think they were very much interesting and taught us a lot of things, not only about economics itself per se, but also I think the discipline itself was something that followed us in the years ahead. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with your words, because I remember vivid memories from WIUT. Economics, beginning of economics faculty was Dmitry Ha.
Exactly.
Our nightmare. But I remember one thing that he said, and it always comes into my mind when I see that I'm doing something right. He said, you will thank me later. And yes, thank you, Dmitry.
Thank you.
Let's move forward then to closer to your journey where you are today. So looking back, was WIUT where your career has actually started, or was your master's degree in Korea? Which one led you to today?
Yeah, I think both played equally important role, and I see this bachelor's degree studies and master's degree as a complementary to each other. I think that's another reason why, like international organizations like the World Bank, there is a requirement to have at least master's degree to have this term job. So, for example, in my bachelor's degree, it was mostly about teachers having these daily classes and pushing us to our limits. While in the master's degree, so I remember from my Yonsei study times, there was a pretty much freedom in terms of what we have studied, what we were doing in terms of reports, papers, research works. So I think it's also very important aspect, because once you grow up, you need to be able to make sure what's your interest areas and how much time and effort you can dedicate to those. And it's all about self-discipline, so to say. I think so. If bachelor's was important for me to build up the basics, foundations, masters helped me to improve the self-discipline. I think that from this angle, both universities were equally important.
Many students ask, why do I need economics later on in my life? All the modules that we have studied, do you use them in your daily life?
That's very interesting question. So I think economics as a discipline is one of the most universally acceptable when it comes to job market, because once you know the basics, once you know how the economic overall functions, you always have this big picture of things, right? Going back to macroeconomics, for example, or if you're going to the private sector, microeconomics, where it will be most helpful, you already have the better, general picture. And then, of course, by years of experience, you go into details and you become expert of one of the areas. From this angle, I think economics is one of the best disciplines, for me at least, because it teaches you how things work in real life. Not necessarily in terms of as a physics, but I mean from a bit different perspective. But overall, for example, how the governments function, or how the private sector works, what drives them, what is about the labor market. So it's all about the efficiencies, incentives, and you see them every day in your daily life as a professional. So, but when it comes to using specific formulas or like, it is yeah, exactly. So let's say let's bring example of these regression models. For example, you don't necessarily. I mean, for me, I don't necessarily use regression model on a daily basis. But overall, when it comes to making some assumptions, or when we are building some reform agendas, reform activities, or helping the government in building these reform agendas, it helps. So what are the, for example, dependent factors? What are the independent factors? What are the outliers? How it helps the direction? What assumptions should be? So from this angle, I think it's very important. So the frameworks, formulas, or terminology that we studied in our bachelor's degree as economists, I think later helps to have these general frameworks that would be applied in our daily professional life.
When people look at your profile, many see the final destination. For me, it's a final destination. But I don't know the behind picture, the struggle you went through to be where you are today, be the person who you are today. Can you describe some of those struggles? How difficult or easy, I don't know, maybe, I hope it was easy. How was your path until here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in a very simple words, I would say each day of the past that I went through now seemed, I mean, back then seemed like never ending, but each day looked like decades, but now looking past, I think it was just a glimpse of an eye, so it was just past like this. So it really depends from what point you look at this, right? I mean, this path. If you're part of this process, it may seem an infinite process, very difficult, but as soon as you have the clear goal, I think it becomes much clearer where you're moving forward, and each action, each day makes more sense. So from my perspective, there was a lot of moments where I was lost.
Even after graduation?
Even after graduation. So, because I was always describing myself as an economist, and my final year thesis was about the feminization of poverty, because I also described myself as a kind of a part of the, I mean, feminist society, because I have sisters. I'm the only son in the family. I'm mostly surrounded by princes and queens.
And you have two girls, right?
And I have two girls. Yeah. So I always try to protect the rights of women, and I'm advocating for this. So I was always seeing myself in the economy sphere. I was maybe thinking of being hired for a think tank, or becoming at some point government official, or kind of economist somewhere, right? But then, of course, the opportunities vary, and it really depends on seeing the opportunity where you can apply your skills, your experience. And even though now I'm an energy specialist, I still define myself as a broadly economist, and it really applies. Whatever I have learned in the past, it really applies on my day-to-day work as an energy specialist at the World Bank. So from this angle, I'm very much happy again. And also, if a few words to students of the WIUT, I think there is no rush in defining the goal, because you are still in the process. So just let your creativity, just let some room for your creativity and freedom thinking and etc. Right? I mean, for creativity, for freedom thinking, and when the right opportunity comes, I think the person will feel it that this is something that the person belongs to, and this is something that actually much bigger than the person itself, the work or the contribution or the mission that he's about to take. So that was a kind of moment for me. I saw the opposition, I applied for it, I passed through the interviews, and when the offer came for energy specialist position, I thought, yeah, this is something that I would devote my life to.
You said you are one of the persons who give suggestions, right?
Supporting,
Policy
helping,
recommendations,
yeah.
Exactly. And the government decides to implement it, right? Okay, then let me ask you then, name a project that you have worked on or maybe still working that an ordinary person in wherever in Uzbekistan is already benefiting from it without knowing it. So maybe you already touched our lives, but we don't know it. Any project?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of scaling and it's a question of attribution. But even, I mean, if we consider something very small thing as a World Bank staff I did or I was part of and it touched the lives, I think there's several of them. So I can bring, for example, solar projects that the World Bank, as a World Bank group, we supported. We have solar power plants in Navoi, Samarkand, Jizza, Bukhara, and Khorazm, and all of them are currently operational. And from the World Bank Group side, we have been supporting them through arranging tenders where IFC helped, or as a World Bank where we have provided this so-called partial risk guarantee or payment guarantee. From this angle, I think these projects already touch almost each resident of Uzbekistan because we have this electricity at home. And also, I have been part of the transmission line and the substation projects, where as a World Bank we have been financing, for example, construction of a high voltage transmission line or modernizing existing substations across the country. And these help the electricity to be delivered to the
individual
household.
homes, right?
Yeah, this is a third part because as a power delivery, in terms of chain, there's a generation where the power plants generate electricity. There's transmission part where this electricity is transported to neighborhood, so to say. And then there's a distribution network. Distribution network, I have also another project where I'm so-called, we have this terminology, task team leader, where I'm responsible for this project from the World Bank side. This is mostly about modernizing distribution networks in Karakal, Pakistan and the Surkhan area. So from this angle, from origination or generation of the electricity until the end point delivery, I feel very much lucky because I was part of each stage. I mean, the projects which are part of each stage. And I think whole residents of government, I mean, in the all residents residing within the Uzbekistan territory are benefiting from some of the projects where I was very small part of it. So, but I feel very much proud of it. So, yeah.
In our daily lives, every year, we see a lot of changes in electricity tariffs, and there are a lot of reforms related to the energy sector.
Yeah.
Can you explain how this mechanism of electricity reforms actually works?
When it comes to electricity tariff, I think the most important thing to define, I mean, as a first step, is cost-reflective tariffs. There's always a question: is the cost of generation and supply of electricity is lower than the revenue collected from end users or revenue collected overall or not? So if yes, then it means the electricity tariff is cost reflective. This is the practice where many advanced countries, developed countries follow as a first rule. If not, it means there is a gap. If the revenue collected is not enough to cover the costs, there's a gap. And this gap, since the electricity is a public good also, this gap is covered by the government in the form of subsidy. That, in our case, would mean the subsidy that could go to, let's say, building new schools or modernizing existing hospitals or other social healthcare facilities or other social facilities. This money now, instead of going to this direction, going to the electricity to cover this gap. That's why there's always incentive to reduce this gap from, economically speaking, to ensure that the tariff becomes cost reflective. By doing so, the government could spend this subsidy that was directed in the past to the electricity to more socially important aspects. But it doesn't mean that the subsidy itself should be equal to zero, because when it comes to electricity, because it's very important to provide in the form of electricity supply or in the form of other terms to cover socially vulnerable part of the society who can be impacted a lot from electricity tariff increase, for example. This is why the government usually have these programs, social programs, or the list of households where they provide these targeted subsidies to people who might be severely affected from the electricity tariff increases. But if we are speaking generally, let's say if I'm the household making 10 times more than the average of the household income in the country, and I'm benefiting equally the same as someone middle class or middle income family from electricity usage, of course I don't have much incentive to use electricity more rationally, right? So I can have a very large household and turning lights on 24/7 because the price that I would be paying for this is subsidized, kind of also partly subsidized, and then it's cheap as someone who can making like this 10 times more than the average household. So if I wrap it up, it really comes down to two things: whether the electricity tariff is cost reflective or not. If it's not cost reflective, that means there is a subsidy. This subsidy could go to more socially important areas or sectors like healthcare, education, and others, or transport, roads. So that means there is a subsidy. That subsidy could go to other sectors, which overall, at the end, is not good as a welfare. It's a welfare lost for the society. But if the electricity tariff is cost reflective, that means there is no subsidy or small subsidy that is directed to only socially vulnerable parts of the society, but the rest of this goes to more socially important sectors, and also it makes the economy as a whole more competitive as time passes by. Because companies, for majority of companies, electricity bills make the substantial part of the expenses. As time goes by, so there should be competition between those companies who are local producers and the ones who produce abroad and import the products goods to the country, right? So to make it more competitive, if you increase the electricity tariff suddenly, these companies, most of them will be losing the game, and they may be out of the game. So that's why the governments usually sometimes have these gradual phase-out, subsidy phase-out programs, where they in the beginning support these local companies until the point they become more competitive and they can compete with imported goods. These companies who make the products and export these products to this country. In this country, versus the import goods. So overall, I think there should be very limited subsidies, and these subsidies should be focused on supporting socially vulnerable households, while ensuring that local businesses become or stay very competitive.
So what do you think? The winter outages, the gas shortages, we all lived them, and we're still living it. So honestly, as an economist who's in the sphere and knows the kitchen of what is driving everything, how many years until an Uzbek winter with stable, let's say, electricity and stable gas? How many years? And are we actually on that path? Are we working on it to improve?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a nuanced question. So, first of all, at current stage, in Uzbekistan, electricity production exceeds the demand, or almost equal. So, technically speaking, I mean, if you take a broader look, there should be no blackouts, but no one can assure you, because there can be a lot of cases or technical nuances. For example, there is a technical issue with one of the largest substations in the country, or there is issue with fuel supply to one of the largest power plants in the country. And these are technical issues with technical parameters. That's why it's very difficult to say confidently there will be no blackouts, even though you already have this enough generation, you have already infrastructure in place. There can be always exceptions. There's also a so-called terminology like peak demand during the day or peak demand during the season. So, for example, there's always peak demand when people before going to work, because everyone is using their home electric appliances, or after coming back from work in the evening time, there are specific hours, or there are seasonal demands like during summer. Most of us, in the context of Uzbekistan, we switch on the air conditioners, or in the winter time, where we try to, some of us use these electric heaters. So based on this, demand profile also changed, but overall, there's sufficient supply sources available, especially when we talk about power generation. There's always more and more renewables coming into the grid, like solar, wind, and also the government is betting a lot on the battery energy storage systems, which is much more stable and ensures this base load demand. But again, there can be some technical nuances which are very difficult to predict.
Unforeseen, right?
Unforeseen, difficult to predict. So, but overall, generally speaking, I mean, there should be no problem.
So we have enough of supply of everything, of gas and of
gas. Yes, I mean, so the gas is a bit, again, it's a bit nuanced topic, because the gas supplies have been shrinking over the years. Because in order to find a new gas field, you need to invest a lot, or to make sure that the existing gas fields extracting the same or more amount of gas, it means there should be deeper drilling, which also requires a lot of investment. But overall, statistically speaking, gas reserves have been shrinking over the years for the case of Uzbekistan, which is
it's a natural resource.
It's a natural resource. It is a finite resource, and it depletes. So this is the reality. Now, the more important question is how we can make sure that we use it more efficiently to make sure that it will benefit you more.
So, according to official statistics taken from World Bank website, World Bank in Uzbekistan is currently running more than 20 projects, which is, again, according to statistics, roughly more than 5 billion. And these projects, the range of these projects vary across energy, transport, schools, water, agriculture, health, and others too. So, can you explain how the machine works in this office? What kind of specialists are currently working today in this office?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would describe our office as extremely diversified in terms of culture, nationality, and experts, because we have experts covering different sectors, like as you also mentioned, like energy, transport, healthcare, education, agriculture, and so on. The list goes on. And also we have experts coming from different nationalities, bringing different expertise and experience. This is what makes the World Bank, I think, also as a knowledge bank, because we are bringing these different mindset, different approaches into one place and helping the government and advising the government. When it comes to World Bank's portfolio, yes, you're right. So we mainly focus on the infrastructure projects because. Let me also apply this into economics. So it's mostly, I think, this area links back to John Maynard Keynes, who was very supportive of creating demand to stimulate the economy. From fiscal side, this is where the World Bank is kind of plays very well. So in Uzbekistan, we apply 3 different instruments, lending instruments. First, we call it development policy operations, where the World Bank provides financing for the budget, to cover budget deficit, for example. Because usually when the government is going through big reforms, they usually spend more than they collect through taxes, right? And the second instrument is investment project financing, where we finance particular infrastructure projects, ring-fence infrastructure projects, be it a specific power plant or transmission line, substation, or road, or airport, or health facility, and so on. And also, we have recently started providing lending using our program for results instruments. It is mostly about setting designing a program which is focused on the results, and upon achieving these results, the state-owned enterprise or the government side will receive the payments for achieving these results. So it's like achieving the KPI and getting the reward for it.
So the better you do, the more money you get.
Yeah, of course. In while designing, you set up the goals or KPIs and metrics, and then you work toward achieving these results.
Many students who are very young and just starting economics, I ask the same question every year, and I say, is loan bad? So let me ask you the same question. Is having such a huge loan amount from Uzbekistan's government side, is it bad?
So overall, I don't think the loan itself from IFIs is bad. In terms of Uzbekistan, it's not bad, especially because we have huge gold reserves and the economy is doing very well, the macroeconomics is stable, reforms are going on, and this whole loan is not exceeding the limits or capacity that the government could afford otherwise. This is first angle. Second angle is that lending, from the World Bank side, let's put it this way, I don't think there's any disadvantage side for the government, because whenever we do projects, we are advocating best practices. We are advocating, to ensure that the project is economically and financially and technically viable. This actually increases success rate of the project in comparison to, let's say, if the client or the government wants to do it alone without bringing some experience from other countries or how this project has been done in different regions or countries. So second is overall, bringing this experience and expertise. Third thing is overall, whenever there is lending from the IFI, the government also takes some of the good lessons, good practices that will be helping to change legislation or standards. That will be one level up from compared to previous. So making overall these sectors where this lending is spent more sustainable in the long run. So I think these are three elements. But of course, there should be some checks and balances when it comes to getting a loan. The governments or the borrower should always pay attention to the capacity in terms of lending, in terms of implementing these projects, and to ensure to make the best out of this lending. So if we combine all of these aspects, I don't think lending at current pace and at current figures is bad for the economy.
AI changed how economists at World Bank work. Which daily tasks have been replaced by AI, and are economists under pressure of AI?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the million-dollar question, and it's not only relates to the WIUT or World Bank. I think everyone is now wondering with the same question. But when it comes to, let's say, to us, I can speak for myself, of course. I think AI has been supporting to increase productivity. It's not necessarily replacing my job exactly as of now. But of course, as the AI will be developing, no one can foretell the future. Let's see what will happen. But at this stage, currently, it is helping to boost the productivity. When we speak about the medium to long term, I think the more important question is how we can integrate AI in our daily works. If, let's say, someone has been purely focusing on the analytics or preparation of reports or making some models, I think AI can do it now day by day better than this person.
Yes.
But if the person's job is more about relationships, is about facing the client or having these discussions, whatever it can be the topic about the reforms, so let's say, I mean, if working with the government or in the private sector is more about the client relationship tasks. I think those people are very difficult to replace with AI, but what AI can do is to help them to be more productive.
To have more information.
To have more information, to do more than they could do.
Thank you. Okay, so you have joined World Bank when?
In May 2022.
22.
Yeah.
Wow, that's 4 years. Ago.
Yeah.
So, what was the biggest misconception about this kind of an organization? How did the inside world look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I think in the past I've been seeing the World Bank as an organization which is far away, very distinct, which always has some rules. There are some covenants that dictate some of the reforms, conditions. But after joining the World Bank, I was assured 100% that actually all of the decisions in terms of setting a priority, achieving the priority is the government's role. It's government decision. As a World Bank, we have been just supporting them to achieve them faster. And also, the World Bank is not an organization which is far away in DC, but here, we are nearby you. Actually, the support that the World Bank has been doing is felt on a daily life. There are some projects, for example, you don't need to go too far. For example, if you drive like 30 minutes, there's a boiler house in Chirchik that is supplying heating and the hot water to nearby multi-apartment buildings and public facilities like kindergartens and hospitals. And you can see the support from the World Bank. Right? No, it's not far away.
Okay, then when you joined probably as a junior. I don't want to say junior because you already were experienced, but that's a newbie, let's say. So can the newbies make a decision, influence, or a senior makes the decision and then junior has to follow it?
I think it really depends on the context.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, I mean, so there are some strategic decisions should be top down, approach should be top down, right? I mean, but of course there are some technical aspects which is open for discussions where senior staff and the junior staff can discuss and so on. I think when it comes to decision making, yes, there is definitely a role for a junior staff to change the decision in a more indirect way, rather than changing it like through authority, because junior staff usually have less authority compared to senior staff, right? But what they can do, I think they can challenge the assumptions. If they have better assumptions that's better placed in a particular context, or asking the right questions that would be helping to define the output or outcome, or making analysis and making the approach more efficient and more effective. And this all set of things are not done like directly by junior staff through voting or so. It's more like it's a process. They should be communicating properly with more senior staff and then changing the direction. It takes time. I mean, so it goes through the process. And I think the same applies for other places as well. So yeah, I think that this is the reason why, I mean, students should focus on their studies to become better on what they're doing right now. Their task is learning more, to become more analytically capable. They have, I mean, they can do such a deep analysis and so on. So I think from this angle, it doesn't mean they don't have a role, but the process itself is a bit different. So the junior staffs, yes, you definitely has a role in making the decisions, but through some kind of process. I mean, this is my take.
Now, big news. You have been recently promoted to the headquarters in Washington, D.C., right? Congratulations once more.
Thank you.
This is actually very big news. And we want to know how you got to the point where you got a promotion, such a big promotion. How did your family react to this big news?
Thank you. So I think it comes with time and deliverables. So I mean, I was always focused on doing whatever I have been doing better, doing more. I was always active in participating in different types of projects, activities, initiatives. So yeah, I think that was a big news for me professionally, and also I think it's a big news for my family.
Yes.
I don't think especially my daughters, I have two daughters, one is 7 years old and the another is 3 years old.
Wow.
They understood the change that is ahead of them, so inshallah. But yeah, I think overall as a family we are very much excited. My wife is very much excited. My kids are very much excited. But my daughter has been recently asking me a question, so we were discussing about this move, and then I showed the potential apartment that we will be renting in Washington to my daughter, and she was saying, "Oh, very nice and very cool." And then she was asking, "Are you sure that we'll be coming back until the school starts?" So and then I said, "Actually, no. Maybe you will need to, I mean, adapt so that you will be going to a new school, new teachers, new friends." Yeah, so and then she was saying, maybe I don't go. It's a surprise moment for us, for our family, but of course we are making these consultations and discussions, so yeah, let's see. Overall it's a big news and big changes, but I hope everything will be going well.
So no Tanish Balash. It was only you,
no, I mean, there's
your
no,
ambition.
Yeah, I don't think there is such thing within the World Bank. So it's mostly because whatever as a staff you do, it goes through performance reviews. people with whom the person works, they provide the feedback on an annual basis or semi-annual basis. These feedbacks are collected, reviewed by managers, and then reported to higher level. So the career progression at the bank is not linked with one specific person. It's connected with many general staff, and this system is done by purpose to prevent such cases of Danish Bilish. But I think it applies to many international organizations as well, and many best practices overall in the private sector as well, or I mean in the governments also, even in Uzbekistan, in the government ministries, or I mean when we are talking about the government institutions, the same practice now being applied. So through Danish Bilish is something that was done in the past, but the practice is getting old because now the goal or the result should be valued.
Let me ask you one question that I think is interesting to me. I mean, I'm personally keen on hearing the answer from you. If you got a chance to sit alone with the president, one economic priority that you would talk with him, that in your opinion is important to be discussed?
Yeah, that's a bit of unexpected question, but I think the most important topic I would discuss is about jobs. I would discuss about reducing youth unemployment or creating more and better opportunities for young people of Uzbekistan that the government and the president are doing perfectly good at, but just to make sure that to make it even more better.
Some quick questions that you should give quick answers.
Okay.
Ready?
We'll try it. Okay.
Okay, but do not think.
All right.
Or don't think too much.
Okay.
World Bank in one word.
Developments.
Okay. Excel, Stata, or Python?
Excel.
Wow. Solar or nuclear power for Uzbekistan?
Solar.
Tashkent Plof or DC?
Tashkent. Sure.
Your 2013 self sees you now. His first words.
Incredible.
Wow. How many zeros does your salary have?
1.
Oh.
So I'm talking about the last digits, 2 digits maybe.
You're demotivating our students so much.
No, actually, I'm here. I just want to make a statement. The World Bank's salaries are public documents.
Really?
Yes. So for each grade, there is a minimum, medium, and a maximum salary, and it is posted on the World Bank Group's website. So for many countries, for they see how HQ and the hubs also.
So I can
it's
go
not
to
a secret.
World Bank website and I can
Exactly.
say this position. How much is his salary?
Yeah. Broadly speaking, yes, you can do it. Absolutely.
Last question. Let's assume, and I hope there are youngsters, maybe school children even, across Uzbekistan that want to study university. For them, I think your job is very far, probably, most likely. What would you tell them? How far is it?
This is not true. I just want to make it clear. Especially in the era of AI and the internet, because information itself is free, and geographical boundaries or distances are no longer as important as they were in the past in getting a job or in getting a employment within international financial institutions. So any of the youngsters, students, or school pupils, so you have all the chance You can be whoever you want in whatever organization you want. It's just a matter of trying and applying. So it's about setting a goal. If you want to get a job at the World Bank, please do so. And there is no barriers. These things, or it could be far away, or it's difficult to achieve. It's something mental barrier that we set to ourselves, I believe. So it's just about setting a target and working on it. Of course, it doesn't mean you should be extremely narrow and betting the whole life into one goal. If, for example, if not the World Bank, there are other international financial institutions. It's like Asian Development Bank or EBRD or Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank or EIB, whatever. I mean, there are many of them, right? In this, it's more about making sure that the person has a clear idea of the area that he or she wants to work. Is it about development financing? Please go ahead. Is it about computer science or other sector? There are other alternatives. So it's more about having a clear direction and working towards it. And the companies is just a name. So
you can be successful anywhere.
Exactly. So it's more about having clarity in terms of direction.
Thank you, Bahodir. It was a very, it was an interview that opened lots of doors to many people who are watching this video, I believe.
Thank you.
We came from same lecture halls, we came from same classroom, we studied in the same university, and you showed that the distance between WIUT and Washington DC is actually shorter than it looks.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.